What up, movie buffs? I'm Jeremy, and movies are terrible. And I'm so excited to be bringing you guys our thoughts on episode 3 of Marvel's What If. And as he's been doing so often the past few weeks, I'm joined with Holden Hardman.
Hey, thanks for having me on, everyone.
This episode, there's a lot to discuss, Holden, and I guess the kind of basic premise is, what if the Earth's mightiest heroes never were?
Yeah, I actually thought this episode, and I think I even was saying this to Jen when we watched it, was like, what if Loki came to Earth instead of Thor? I don't know where I read that, so that's what I was being prepared for. And then they have like Iron Man getting killed right away. I'm like, that's not right. Then they just kept killing off all the other ones. So I was definitely surprised just because I thought I was expecting something else entirely.
This episode, like you said, it just indiscriminately kills off all of our favorite Avengers, sometimes in some pretty horrific ways, including what happened to the Hulk.
Yeah, I was really surprised about just him dying at all, especially like actually seeing him blow up like a balloon. I thought that was going to be like a troublesome thing for whoever was killing off the people, but no, they took him out. And also, I was kind of happy to see that they didn't just totally disregard the Incredible Hulk movie. I've even had comments on my channel of people being like, oh, it's not canon anymore. They forgot about it. I'm like, no, that's never been the case. So it was nice to actually see them go back and let it be known that it is solidly in the MCU, you know.
Very interesting retconning that they did there, because yes, this is very much based on the Incredible Hulk, only now we have Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, but everything else very much in universe. I realized as I was watching this that is not Scarlett Johansson doing Black Widow.
I know. I've heard the speech.
You know, there's all the meta stuff that goes along with it, but I really like Lake Bell, the person that does the voice for Widow in this, and you may actually recognize her as Ivy from the Harley Quinn animated series. But did you find any of the substitute voices to be like distracting? Did you notice?
No, not really. I did notice Black Widow. I could pretty clearly tell it wasn't her. I could not tell if that was Michael Douglas or not, though. That sounded just like him, but in the opening credits I didn't remember seeing his name.
You're still pretty spry for a guy with a corner office.
They actually cleverly left his name off. However, that is definitely Michael Douglas. Yeah, that voice is unmistakable. Either that or just the best impression that anybody's ever done. But
I couldn't tell. I was listening out for Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, but he didn't have a whole lot of lines, which I think was smart on their end.
What'd you just do to me?
But I couldn't tell, you know, it wasn't distracting. It was a pretty good impression. So
I agree. I felt like this episode was just pretty shocking. Of the 3 episodes so far, I think this one had the most like, holy crap. There was a couple of things that really jumped out to me in this episode. And one of the particular scenes is when Phil Coulson was like sniffing Thor's corpse. Wow.
Yeah, that was apparently a dead Thor smells like lavender. So that's good to know. When Jen and I were watching it, we're trying to figure out who the bad guy was, who was killing him, you know. And then when Black Widow was like, it's Hope, you know, obviously that makes me think, oh, it's Hope Van Dyne is the one that's doing it. And I was like, oh, that's cool, because they're connecting phase 3 to phase 1, you know, in that way. It's also the first time in the What If series. I know we're only 3 episodes in, but the first time that we're seeing like multiple what if things happening at once. Whereas like the first episode was what if Captain Carter got the serum, that's it. And then episode 2 was what if T'Challa became, you know, got taken instead of Peter Quill, that's it. And this one we're seeing what if you know, all the Avengers are getting killed, what if Hope Van Dyne died a long time ago off screen.
Yeah.
There's one more. I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but it's like multiple things happening at once, or throwing us in a little bit later. So it's also showing that they're beginning to, I think, slowly starting to complicate it more and getting us kind of more in the swing of things. And I'm anticipating as the episodes move on, it's going to get a lot more complicated, a lot more complex, and a lot more interconnecting between phases and universes.
Yeah, I think the mystery part is actually something that they did considerably well. When Betsy mentioned, I'm sorry. When Betty, I apologize, internet, mentions that that it was nanotech, I was like, oh, okay, this is an Ant-Man thing going on. I thought that was a really interesting angle. Now, I didn't think it was going to be Hank or even necessarily consider who it was, but I knew immediately Clint didn't miss. I knew, you know, like there was a couple of things that you're just like, no, that wouldn't happen in universe. So I liked the macabre nature of this episode. I suspect we're going to be seeing a little bit more of that in the future with what looks to be like a Marvel Zombies episode that's going to be released a couple episodes from now. Do you feel like there's any interconnectivity between this version of the Dead Avengers and what we're going to get in Zombies? Or
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out, based on some comments, if this is not a true anthology, if they're actually going to connect everybody in the end anyway, Captain Carter and the Star-Lord T'Challa. So some people were saying they're going to all come together in the what if battle, whereas I'm kind of preferring them staying one-offs and like the, so I don't know. As far as them being zombies or a part of the Marvel Undead or whatever, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. They can do whatever at this point. They could crap in front of the screen on Disney Plus. People would be like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very curious to see when all of these things do start to build together. I heard people say, they're preparing for an Avengers style team up by the end. And I'm like,
I've heard that too.
For sure. But how many captains can you have on one team? That's my biggest hang up. We got 3 captains on one team, dude.
Yeah. I also don't know if I really want that. I mean, I figure with something like the multiverse, it makes sense for them to be in their own universe. Do we really need like this? It's kind of like the Star Wars problem. Does everybody need to be related? Does Rey really need to be related to anybody in the original cast? That's kind of how I'm feeling about this. I don't know if I necessarily want that. I like the idea of these individual stories being created and tangent going off on their own. So I don't know if I necessarily want that. I could be in the minority. I mean, it would be cool to see Captain Carter and Loki from this episode and Star-Lord T'Challa or whatever else they want to do come together. I'm not saying that wouldn't be cool, but I don't know. I don't know if it's for the betterment of the story as opposed to just, this is going to be a really cool thing.
I think your opinion is completely valid on that. And I think we were sold this as an anthology. So if the expectation is that everything has to be interconnected, that's not exactly what we were told and led to believe initially. I kind of agree with you, Holden. I don't think that I think that the MCU is so good at being interconnected that some of the most interesting things about What If is that it was totally broken free from those shackles. So to think that there is all of these lasting impacts from it, it kind of just changes what my perception of the show was. So I got to ask, now that we're 3 episodes in, I think we got like 6 more to go. So this isn't a short series, but what's your favorite episode still so far?
I really, really enjoyed this one. The more I thought about episode 1, I think it was a great introduction, but as of now, I think that this one probably is there for me. I don't know if it's because I kept getting surprised and seeing like how they're going to handle all the, all the Avengers being killed. That is a hugely different universe. The Avengers never forming, so that was really cool. I like the idea of, even after losing the Avengers before they could even get started, and the whole world pretty much submitting to Loki, that Nick Fury is still going out looking for Captain America. He radios in, he beepers Carol Danvers to bring Captain Marvel in. So like he never truly loses hope. So I kind of like that they ended on both a low note and also a high note at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this was my favorite as well. I know it's cliched to say, but for me, so far, they just keep on getting better. I'm sure there's going to be a point where maybe that's not the case, but yeah, so far, I feel like each episode's been just a little bit better than the last. But we do these videos because we love talking movies. We love talking television series. So we actually really want to hear your thoughts down in the comments section below. Let's carry on the conversation. You can't possibly be wrong. All you can do is just let us know what your legitimate thoughts are. What are your feelings? How do you rank the episodes so far? Let's discuss. Thank you guys very much for stopping by to check out another episode of our What If reviews. Holden, thank you very much for taking a chance to do this with me this evening.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. It's always fun talking about Marvel stuff. And honestly, whether they do continue the anthology or bring everyone together, I'm going to be down for it. I'm going to be so psyched to see whatever they're going to do. So I'm looking forward to what's to come.
If you guys have not checked out the reaction videos yet, head over to Holden Hardman. Him and Jen are watching and reacting to every episode. You can see that over there. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you can stay up to date with all of Holden's content. Do the same here. And until next time, and on behalf of both me and Holden, be terrible. Peace.